Hello, this is Bad Vibes. Today's video are stories sent in by subscribers. So if you want me to read a true story of yours, just send them in to badvibes760@gmail.com. The link is also in the description. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. My name is Thomas. I'm 33 years old. I'm a black man that lives in Baltimore City, better known as B-more or Bodymore, in the urban area where it's dangerous. But when you live your whole life somewhere, you tend to adapt to the area. When I was 28 years old, I was robbed at gunpoint by two men. One day I was walking to my homeboy's house at 10 at night to buy some weed. His house was about 15 minutes away, and on the way back I went to the store because I had my cousin's Independence card. So I was definitely going to buy some munchies for after I smoke. On my way back home, I saw a white car pass by and turned on the street a block away from me. Mind you, I had my earphones in, but don't have anything playing just in case someone tries something and I would still be able to hear them. When I went by the block where the car went, a black guy hopped out of the car and tried to catch up with the pace I was walking. When I saw what he was doing, I heard him say something. I then took one of the earbuds out of my ear and said, "What the fuck you say?" He then said, "Kick that shit, don't play with me." That's when I saw the silver gun he was clutching in his coat. I had a bag full of junk food in my hand and a bag full of weed in my shoe. He said, "Where's the money?" I said I don't have no money, just a bag of weed. That's when another black guy hopped out of the car. He had a gun in his hand too. He went to the right side of me. Another guy was on the left of me. I took my shoe off and threw the bag of weed on the ground and said that's all I got. He said, "Put your shoe back on," looking around nervously. In my head, I was like, they're not just gonna kill me right here. I'm gonna try to get the fuck out of here. So the guy on the left said, "Yo, if you don't pull the dollars out of your pocket, I'm gonna shoot you." I pulled my pants up a little bit more because I was preparing to run. Before I said anything, I sprinted up the street in the direction I was already walking. It was about 3 minutes away. While I was running, I'm passing people on the sidewalk. They're looking crazy because I think they saw the whole robbery. But when I got 2 blocks away from my house, I ran to the parking lot and headed by a gate that had a lot of high bushes and trees. I caught my breath right there. I couldn't run no more, but I didn't stay long because I was scared and didn't know if they were chasing me. I got the hell up and jogged the rest of the way to my house, and when I got into the house, I was out of breath. I sat down and told my 8-year-old little cousin, "Remember I was telling you how dangerous it was going out at 10 p.m. at night?" I was telling him earlier that day about another time I got robbed and how dangerous it is to be out at night in Baltimore City. This is my first time telling a story, so here's a little detail you should know. I live in a city where there's a lot of wannabe gangsters of a few gangs close to our city. Also my mom, who's like a mother bear. She's really protective of me. She doesn't let me take public transportation or stay late outside of the house. This happened a year ago after my senior year of high school. My girlfriend, who's a year younger, has strict parents, so at the time she didn't have a phone. Me being me, I called up my best friend, who actually lives quite close to her summer school she'd be attending. Basically every morning my grandma would drop me off at his house. I didn't have my license, and I'd just tell my mom that we were hanging out. However, we used to take 2 buses to my girlfriend's summer school so I could see her before class started. We did this for a while. Everything was great. My mom wasn't suspicious of anything. We never ran into any problems. It was a good time. However, what happened made me realize why my mom was always overprotective. My friend and I were on the bus enjoying the ride to our last stop. A guy in a hoodie, looking in his 40s or so, with a duffel bag, yelled at the entire bus to move along so the ladies could get through. My friend, who's kind of a loudmouth, told the man to calm down. Oh boy, did he mess up. The man was so angry, his eyes were bloodshot red, popping out of the sockets, yelling at my friend, "Don't get lippy with me." His spit was going everywhere. He kept repeating his own name. He then slaps my friend across the face and starts pushing him while we're on the bus. He claims to be a gang member. I kinda laughed on the inside because the man looked like a painter, not a gang member. I'm known for being a strong guy, but something in my gut was telling me not to do anything crazy, and the most I did was push the man with one hand. He went flying and fell to the seat. He gave one giant last slap to my friend and spit on the floor. So there I am, my friend beat red, a bus full of people who didn't do anything, and a crazy man who just assaulted a minor. Eventually, we got to our stop, and there he was, on the other side of us, right beside my girlfriend's summer school. He didn't seem to pay any attention to us. He was just messing around with his bag. My friend gave the idea to jump the guy. I was ready. I was happy to beat him. However, something in my gut was telling me not to. It wasn't fear, it was more of a sign. As the man was getting closer, I decided that we'd hop into the gas station that was right next to us. We told the man working there to lock the doors as we panicked as he was inches away from the door. One of the workers was outside and told the man to leave, and he did. We called the police. An officer showed up and got a statement from my friend and informed us that he was actually just arrested only a few minutes after. The adrenaline I was feeling was crazy. I was bigger than the man and could have easily taken him if I wanted to, but I'm a softie at heart and like to stay away from confrontation. As we cross the street, we see something on the ground that makes me sick to my stomach. I knew my gut feeling was right. A huge knife was laying there, and it made me sick to my stomach that this man had it on him. It made sense now. This man, who was a scrubby skinny guy, seemed to have zero fear whatsoever towards two kids that could beat the hell out of him. And why did he drop it? Did he even know he dropped it? So many things were racing through my head. A dude on the bus did in fact tell me that he was dangerous and goes to jail often, but this was crazy. My mom, my dad, my girlfriend. What if I didn't make it out alive that day? And what if my friend and I ended up on the news? What would they think? So crazy dude on the bus, let's not meet again. I was 16 in my last year of high school. It was a normal boring day like any other. I was in class working away and wishing lunch would come quick. I wasn't in the mood to work, but that suddenly changed. We got an announcement from the principal saying code black. I looked at the code sheet and read that code black is a lockdown. I said to myself, awesome, no work, but I knew it could be serious, and I had to be sensible and listen to my teacher in case something bad happened. My teacher quickly locked the door, shut the curtains on the windows, and covered the glass window on the door with a huge sheet of paper. I heard a few other teachers rush out into the foyer to lock the two doors. Our grade foyer is a huge room. Right outside our 5 classrooms in our grade block is a huge classroom where we have grade assemblies, and we can hang out there all recess and lunch. I wasn't scared. I'm not really scared of anything, but it was quiet. The quietest I've ever heard our grade block. In fact, the whole school felt silent. It felt like it was the weekend and no one was there. I sat on a bench seat, which was close to the door. I tried to look through one side of the window on the door to see if I could see anyone on the school grounds through one of the foyer windows, but the windows were covered up too much. A few people started whispering to each other, and I told them to shut up, that I was trying to listen out for noises, like voices and the sound of forced entry. But nothing, not a single sound. It started to be a little freaky as we sat in our dark classroom completely silent. All these questions started running through my mind. What was going on? Is it in or outside our school grounds? Are we safe? Is it deadly? Are we going to be attacked? What the hell is it? I was expecting that we were going to be attacked, so I fully prepared for it. But after a very long while, we got an all clear and went about our day. At lunch, rumors were going around saying that some idiot in our grade, who I hated, held the assistant principal at knife point. He also had a list of people he wanted to kill, including one of my friends. I think he was expelled, as there were no rumors about the aftermath, so it just turned out to be a crazy day. A few months later, I was working away in class. I was in a good mood for once, but little did I know that that day was about to get better. It was almost lunch when the principal made a code gray announcement. I looked at the sheet and the code gray is someone untrustworthy around the school. We didn't have to barricade ourselves in all grades, just needed the foyer doors locked for safety, and we were instructed to continue working while the situation was being handled. I couldn't help but wonder what was going on. I wanted to see whatever it was, and my wish came true. At lunch, we gathered in the foyer. It was a bit crowded, as I said. There were 2 security guards over the grade 8 block talking to a girl student. The conversation started to get a bit heated. I was praying for a fight, but she walked away up the front of the school towards the office with security right on her tail. We watched closely till they were out of sight. There were no rumors, but I remember a teacher saying that someone was just having a bad day. Now here's the best part. I was in my first year of college. I was catching my bus home. I was in the back, alone, eating lunch, when this girl who was in my grade 7 class, high school, boarded and sat with me. We talked a bit, and when I brought up the 2 incidents, she told me it was her who caused the code gray. From what I remember, she wanted to bash this 8th grade girl real bad for some reason, and security escorted her off the school grounds and to the parking lot where the cops were waiting for her. However, when she walked up the soccer field and tried to run, but was tackled and handcuffed before she knew it. I can't remember the rest of the story, however, I'll always have these 2 incidents, and I'll have a laugh with others about them. This happened about 6 years ago, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas. It was fiesta season, and me and my mom and sister were going downtown to drop my sister off because she was going to help my mom's friend with her food stand. As my mom and I started to walk away towards the street, we stood at the sidewalk waiting to cross. This man, who was probably in his mid-20s, came and stood next to us. No big deal, right? Well, when the sign said that we could walk across, this burgundy-colored truck, which I want to say is a 2000 model, came racing by. Well, most of you would just call him a jerk and move on. Well, this wasn't the case in this situation. It turns out that the man that was standing next to me and my mom, well, somehow his arm got caught in the driver's side window. The man started yelling over and over again for them to stop their car. He finally stopped the car, and it turned out the man who was standing next to us the whole time was an off-duty police officer. The man that was in the car was an old man, around his mid-70s at the time. The officer took away the old man's keys and told him to stay there for a second. The officer was being very calm and respectful, so me being 8 years old at the time, I didn't understand why the next part happened. The officer had my mom and I stay because we witnessed what happened from the beginning to the end. If this went to court, they'll want more evidence of what went down. Well, when the officer walked away, I took a good look at the old man, and God, this guy looked like he had been beaten up by life. He had rotten teeth, leathery dark skin, and scruffy knotted hair. When I took a good look at him, I noticed he was reaching for something shiny in the passenger seat. Once he got a grip on it, I immediately knew what it was. It was a pistol, and I got scared and yelled, "Gun, gun, he has a gun!" The officer heard me scream and ran faster than I've ever seen anyone run and grabbed the man before he could pull the trigger and started yelling, drop the gun right now." My mom grabbed me by the arm and we ran off when another off-duty officer stopped us and asked what was wrong. My mom out of breath and me crying, realizing how close I was to death. We finally managed to yell some slurred words. Man, car, gun, officer needs help. And that was enough for the officer to know what just happened and said, "Go run somewhere safe. If you see another officer, tell them to call for help. If you don't find one, call 911. He ran to help. While my mom and I started running again, I took one last look before my mom said not to look and turned my head away. But what I saw before my mom made me look away was traumatizing. I saw 2 officers pulling the man out of the car and the second one trying to get the gun away. My mom and I finally found another officer, and I told him everything, mostly because I saw more than my mom could describe. The officer wrote down everything and started to head in the direction my mom told him, and we went home. That day has traumatized me for life, and I have been scared and haven't celebrated Fiesta ever since. Now I only watch the festival on TV. My mom still goes and doesn't remember everything that happened like me. Last year was the first time in a long time to go to Fiesta because I had to be there because my friend's mom was going to get proposed to that day and that place. I was very paranoid to the point that people were asking if I was okay. Now I'm 14 years old and I'm starting high school this year, but every now and then I think back to that time where I could have been dead if it wasn't for that officer risking his own life to save a mother and an 8-year-old girl he didn't even know. So to the officer that saved me and my mom, I wish I had the chance to thank you, and I hope you're doing great. You've inspired me to work hard and take action when necessary. I want to be a doctor in the Navy so I can help people. And to that old man, I don't know who you are or where you are, but if I see you again, I want you to know I still remember what you look like. And if you recognize me, you better turn the other way, because while I may be 5'2", 14 years old, I'm a lot stronger now. And I can take down my 24-year-old brother, who can lift over 200 pounds. I won't hesitate beating you up for scaring me for life.